This month marks the 30th anniversary of the Game Boy. It launched on April 21st, 1989 in Japan. It was later released in July for North America, but let's forget about that for now. In honor of the original debut, I decided to look at games that only launched in Japan. And then I thought, hey, let's look at the best fan patches while we're at it. Long-winded explanation aside, here is 5 amazing imported Game Boy games with English translations. Another Bible released on March 3rd, 1995, and this patch was initially released in 2002 by the Aeon Genesis Group. The game takes place in a world where demons and humans once fought, but peace has since settled relatively so. You play Cassiel, an adventurer who comes across Piuntia on his travels to go around helping people fighting monsters. It's a strategy RPG where everything is streamlined. You go from mission to mission with some town interactions in between battles to get new party members, get some more story bits, or to shop. The story is so-so, and there's not much to battling, but again, it was neat to finally play it. Pokémon Card GB2 Great Rocket Dance Sanjo released on March 28, 2001, and this patch was initially released in 2012 by Artemis 251. This is more like an enhanced expansion of the original game. It allows you to choose a gender now, adds a few new cards from the real-life card game, i.e. the Team Rocket card packs, and it also adds more of a story. The original was all about becoming the very best card player, and this time you're actually trying to thwart Team Great Rocket from stealing cards. Here's my stance on this. The main games are amazing because you get to catch Pokemon and become a virtual trainer. The real-life cards mirror that feeling in reality. I loved collecting them as a kid, but there is a weird disconnect with a video game version of said card game. If you're going to play a Game Boy Pokemon game, then why not play the main ones? Red, blue, yellow, whatever. That said, I did actually like the original way back when, and that's why I was so intrigued with this new game. I would have liked for this to be the Pokemon Gold/Silver version of the card game instead of just an enhanced expansion, but I still had some fun. Megami Tensei Gaiden Last Bible 2 released on November 19th, 1993 originally, but it was also released for the Game Boy Color on April 16th, 1999, which is the version I played. Patch was initially released in 2009 by Espernite. This is the second game of 6 in the Last Bible spin-off series set in the Megami Tensei universe. Another Bible, which I obviously brought up earlier, is the 4th game in said sub-series. Also of note, North America did receive the first game released over here as Revelations the Demon Slayer. It is also the only game to have been officially released in this Bible series. And unlike another Bible, this is a straight-up turn-based RPG starring a young boy who was once raised by demons. Like other games in the Grand series, you have the option to talk to enemies during fights in order for them to join your party. Here is the weird thing though. They don't level up. They join your party with the random level they are assigned, and that's it. In this way, they felt less useful than the other games. Thankfully, this is balanced out with a revolving doorway of guest human characters that join our young hero in his adventures. I should also mention, speaking of balance, that the game leans on the easier side of things, which I was surprised by. Yes, you still have to grind a little bit, and there are some rough difficulty spikes, but nothing too crazy. Gargoyle's Quest 2, The Demon of Darkness, released sometime in 1993. It is an enhanced port of the original NES game, which does have a hard date of July 17th, 1982 for Japan, and later that October for North America. This Game Boy port was planned for North America as well, but was cancelled for whatever reason. Perhaps sales of the original NES game weren't up to snuff? Anyway, this patch was initially released in 2013 by Bali. No matter if you play this Game Boy game or the NES version, the core is virtually the same. You play as Firebrand, an enemy from the Ghosts and Goblins series. Of said franchise, I think these spin-offs, including both Gargoyle quests and Demon's Crest, are infinitely better than the main deals. Well, as Firebrand, the game is split into an RPG-like overworld where you talk to NPCs in towns to get quests and items, and then on actual missions, it turns into a side-scrolling action game. It's a neat hybrid of the two genres. Hard, yes, but definitely a lot more balanced than Ghosts and Goblins. And finally, forgive my pronunciation, Karo no Tame ni Kane wa Naru, or as it's been translated, For the Frog, the Bell Tolls, released on September 4th, 1992, and this patch was initially released in 2011 by Ryan BGSTL. Of all the Japanese Game Boy game imports, this is probably the most famous. The game stars the Prince of Sable, who chases after his rival, Richard, who is the Prince of the Custard Kingdom, after he goes to another neighboring kingdom in order to defeat an evil king who has captured their princess. When, let's just call him Sable, arrives, he finds that Richard has been turned into a frog by a witch, and as fate has it, Sable also gets turned into one. Many of the kingdom's citizens have also been turned into frogs, so it's up to you to ring a magical bell in order to restore the nation to its rightful place. Thus, the title. Gameplay could be likened to Zelda, but with more RPG elements. I would argue it's more of a puzzle game disguised as an RPG actually. The perspective is top-down for towns and the overworld. When you get into a dungeon, the game flips into 2D. Enemies are fought automatically by bumping into them, thus erupting a cartoonish cloud of smoke. The outcome will be based on your ability points such as health, strength, and speed. If you aren't strong enough, you can't win. The game sort of points you in the direction of stat boosts via quests so that you can then challenge new foes to thus proceed to your new adventure. You can't get overly stimulated by grinding like in other RPGs. In that way, again, I think it is more of a puzzle game. But because of the overlay, charming design of the characters, story, and the illusion of RPG progression, I found it engrossing and incredibly hard to put down. It is easily not just one of the Game Boy's best, but overall, one of Nintendo's finest. If you like this video and want to see more from me, then subscribe to my channel, and also check out my articles over at The Gamer. All these links and more are in the description notes below. Thanks for watching!